Hello and welcome to another episode of How I Like Maths. My name is Nahid. I'm an applied mathematician and the founder of Bungee Pie, helping kids learn maths using storytelling, animation, and real-life applications. This show is my own initiative to talk about mathematics and its application in real life. Today I have a great speaker, Robin Aldridge-Sutton. And before introducing him, I would like to ask you to subscribe to this platform and support us to continue this work. Robin is a statistician and data analyst. He likes maths, statistics, data analysis, philosophy, chess, and running. He's from New Zealand and did a bachelor degree in maths and philosophy, honors and master in philosophy from the Victoria University of Wellington. His love for statistics made him to complete another bachelor degree in data science, followed by an honors in statistics from the University of Auckland in New Zealand. Today he will talk about his life journey and what a data analyst needs to have to build up a successful career. Welcome to How I Like Maths, Robin.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It took us more than a year to record this episode. Yeah.
Well, we've been busy, yeah.
Well, I remember I asked you last year for it when we were teaching, what was it? Statistical thinking with data.
Yeah.
And then I asked you, hey, do you want to be part of my podcast and talk about your PhD thesis or research study? And then you said, yeah, I think about it. And then you sent me a PowerPoint presentation. I looked at it and said, this is too much. Well, you can't just present all these crazy formulas.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then we chat about that, and it was on hold. Eventually, we managed to record it this time. Now, I know you, Robin. I know most of your story so far.
Right.
But for people who don't know you, I'd like you to ask you this question. So give us a bit of background, what happened at school, and fun stories if you have from childhood. What did you want to be growing up?
Well, I grew up in a small town in New Zealand. You can probably notice my accent. Grew up in Napier, and I moved to the capital of New Zealand, which is Wellington, at the start of high school. So I had a difficult childhood, but I got into things like chess, maths, and also sports. And
did it all came to you naturally, or encouraged by your parents to do maths or chess?
I remember, so my dad got into chess, and he took me and my brother to the chess club with him on Monday nights, and I just got into chess as well. So I started playing. That was really great. And also my dad taught me how to memorize times tables, and I had a teacher who would make a game out of remembering times tables. And so I got really into that, and got good at that. And then at some point sort of realized that I was good at maths, and that was really good for me because I was quite low confidence, and having something that you turn out to be good at can be quite a boost. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, but that was high school. And any big kind of chess tournament that you're quite proud of?
Yeah, actually, I was quite proud to win a few junior sections of chess tournaments when I was still quite young. So actually, even before getting to high school. By the time I got to high school, we moved to Wellington. I kind of didn't focus on chess so much anymore. But, yeah.
How was the time in Wellington? I know how much you like it. But...
Yeah, I love Wellington. It's got a really nice atmosphere. It was really good. Yeah, I went to a really nice high school, not very academically focused, but very inclusive and very cultural, nice culture. So I think that really suited me.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still able to, do the study I wanted to do for myself.
Just a general question. Does it really matter which school you go in Wellington, or just pretty much they're the same?
No, I think it matters. I think it matters a lot. Different schools have very different atmosphere and different cultures, and are going to suit different people better, and also influence how people grow up and the kind of people they become, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think it matters. Figuring out which one is best for any particular kid at any particular time isn't simple, but I think it's something you should pay attention to for sure.
Yeah, and you're quite proud of your high school, aren't you?
I'm proud of. I am proud of it. I like a lot about it. I sometimes wonder what would have happened if I had a bit more academic support
Mm.
in those years, but
Yeah,
on the whole, I think other things are more important to me. So.
yeah. Because I remember sometimes we talked about it and said, well, they had a lot of things that it were quite cool, but sometimes some teachers turn out to be quite strange, and they didn't like to teach or pay that much attention in the class. But
Yeah,
if you'd like to share any of those stories, that would be nice as well.
I mean, yeah, I mean, so there'd be some classes when no teacher would show up, and we'd just sort of be there for an hour. Other times, I felt like the teachers weren't very well prepared, or weren't especially focused during the class.
Mm.
And I sometimes complained about that. But I think everybody there, or just about everyone, had a good heart, and I think that's more important to me. So yeah,
Excellent. Yeah. I think it took me a while to get to that point, that I valued that bits of school as well, the human side of it stronger rather than academic side. Because, well, in my high school, well, you know that I did my high school in Iran, and the focus was quite on study, so like intensely studying maths and other subjects. And was a less focus on finding friends and learn how to live life, and all the other skills that you generally need for having a successful life apart from academic kind of things. Wasn't that much of focus when I was doing my high school, but over time I realized that it's quite important to have those ones as well.
yeah.
Or teaching is sort of a skill at school, and it's still surprising that even here I don't see that much of it.
Yeah, I definitely think that's more important. I'd rather have a school that has happy people in it than a school with, better grades and academic performance.
Mm.
And I think they go together as well. So it's kind of about having the right balance, I guess.
Yeah, and it's kind of it's part of your character that you like to work with people, and so that's your preference. You just give it kind of a priority than just purely doing work and research and all the things of study in general. But at least that's what I know from you, that you just you like people more and working with nice people in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I love maths and my study, but at the end of the day, if you can't share it with anyone, it seems like, what's the point, really? It's the
Yeah.
sharing of the work that where you get the reward.
Yeah. And I think this is a good message, because I've seen a very competitive kind of work environment, particularly at quite good unis. And sometimes I was quite annoyed by that. So sometimes you forget that beyond all these works that we do, we're still human, and we like to connect to people, and we like to kind of learn from each other. So it's something that it seems that modern life is taking it from us. That's my understanding.
Yeah. I think we've talked about that before. But I kind of feel like human beings have a cooperative side and a competitive side, and yeah, you can sometimes feel like the world is unbalanced towards too much competition and not enough cooperation sometimes.
That's true. All right. So, talk about other things. What you did when you started your bachelor degree and you got more seriously in maths and other stuff since then. So, tell us about your career path since then.
Sure. Well, when I went to uni, at first I started off majoring in computer science and economics,
Mm-hmm.
and I took a couple of philosophy courses out of interest. And by the end of that year, I decided to change my major and focus on doing a philosophy major.
Mm-hmm. Is a particular reason why you preferred doing philosophy, or?
I think that I wasn't really sure about what I wanted in my life, and I felt like philosophy was more suited to where I was at in my life. So thinking about deep questions and thinking very generally
Mm-hmm.
and broadly, I wasn't ready to focus on one particular thing and make that a career. So philosophy felt like a good thing to
Mm-hmm.
study while I was still thinking about things in that way, thinking about life in general. Um, so I did a philosophy major, and then I still needed a year of study to finish my degree, and I wanted to get a second major. I decided to try to do a maths major in 1 year, apart from one maths course that I'd done in my first year for computer science. So somehow I convinced the uni to let me take all these maths courses concurrently, rather than doing the prerequisites before the later courses.
Right.
So that was a very challenging, very ambitious year, and I got through it, but it was tough. So I ended up with a double major in philosophy and maths, and I don't regret it. I'm glad I did that maths, because I've come back to it obviously later.
Yeah. No, I think it's quite impressive, to be honest, because both of them are kind of brainiac, and doing it at the same time, I think, is quite intense. And one is required for finding a meaning in life, if there is such a thing, in another. It's just I was looking at it as maths as a brain game, kind of thing like that. Is the logical part of the brain gets quite strong when doing maths. Alrighty, so you enjoyed it, and then?
So after I finished my bachelor's degree, I got a job working in IT support, and I did that for a year or so, and then I guess I still wasn't ready to settle on a career, so I went back to uni and did honours and a master's in philosophy.
Right. So it wasn't enough. I need to get a master in it.
I guess
Did you eventually? What did you get out of the all the degrees and years of thinking in philosophy? Can you just summarize it in a kind of one or two sentences? And
well, I guess I've thought about a lot of quite general things, general topics. I've thought about things from sort of the first foundations a lot. I had a taste of research doing my master's degree. It was a research degree, and obviously a lot of writing, so writing a thesis. It's hard to sum up what it's given to me. I find that I've thought about a lot of things that that I've spent a lot of time thinking about things that other people don't spend as much time thinking about. And so,
Yeah. That's philosophers' jobs anyway. Think about stuff that people normally don't think about.
yeah.
Or they don't bother to think about, I would say.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of people don't need to think about those sorts of things. It's probably part of my personality that I am attracted to thinking about things deeply, more deeply than is strictly necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you know, I feel like I'm quite quick to see to the sort of core points in an argument or a point of view, because I've had a lot of practice tackling sort of difficult, complex problems and coming to a reasonable position.
Yeah. But it's quite interesting to know that you have that side, but I barely see you start arguing with people about particular things, or try to prove that you're right or the way you think is right. I barely see you done that.
Yeah, no, that's that's not attractive to me. And often I don't really. I think a lot of things people will come around to them when the time's right, rather than from anybody sort of arguing with them or persuading them. You can put ideas out there, but it's up to people what they connect with and what they embrace. So.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. Alrighty. So you did philosophy and maths, and then next step was getting a career in philosophy, or just change the mind and take a break from it.
Yeah. No. So my master's was really challenging, and at the end of that, I wasn't ready to try and do a PhD. So, and I also had a large student loan, so I did something which a few of my friends had done, which was to leave New Zealand, and I actually went to South Korea and started teaching English. So in South
Quite different, hey, from philosophy to leave the country and going and live in completely different environment like South Korea.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I never lived there, but just from the sound of it, seems quite different.
Yeah, really different, and I guess that was the point. So New Zealand is quite far away.
Or somewhere very different.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to experience a totally different place, and also at the time you could teach English and make decent money without having an English teaching qualification, and the cost of living was quite low, so it was possible to move to a brand new country and experience a totally different place at the same time as saving money and, for me, paying off my loans.
Yeah. Can you just talk about differences between like these two countries? I know that culturally they're quite different, and probably in the way they manage things or handle things might be different. But you can, if you would like to, can share some bits and pieces about that. Because I am an immigrant, and I found Australia quite not very different, but different from Iran, where I grew up. So it's quite interesting being in a very different environment and see how that changes you, and how you perceive the new environment and things that you get out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, South Korea is very different from New Zealand. New Zealand's geographically, it's not so small, but the population is very small, and it's a long way away from just about everywhere. South Korea, the population is more than 10 times larger. The area is smaller, maybe half the size of New Zealand, so it's very densely populated. They're both developed, industrialized, and Western influence. So South Korea is a major ally of the US, and New Zealand is a minor ally. And they're both capitalist and democratic. But yeah, just about everything else is different. So yeah, Korea is very monocultural. Not very many foreigners live there. It's obviously Asian, and it has a long history, whereas New Zealand history was all oral history before Europeans settled there, which was only a couple hundred years ago. So not much written history compared to Korea, which has thousands of years of history. So,
did you experience culture shock when you were there for the first time?
Yes, I'm sure I did. And I was also just very lonely because I moved to a small town, and there were very few people who could speak English, and I couldn't speak any Korean when I moved there. So, and I was also teaching kids, which turned out isn't my strength. So the first month, yeah, absolutely. So the first 3 months were really hard, and I actually ended my first contract early, and was penalized for doing that. Right. But I moved to a larger city, and I got a new job teaching adults, and after that, things were way better for me. So that's when I started really enjoying, and I studied Korean language. I had great students that I connected with, and was able to have some success teaching them English, and just experiencing a really amazing culture. So,
does learning Korean language helps living there easier, or you just don't need it as a foreigner?
I think both. So most foreigners who move to Korea, or I should say most Westerners, because probably most foreigners in Korea are Chinese or South Asian, Southeast Asian, and they tend to learn Korean because they have to for the thing that they do there. Most Westerners who move there are either American military who live on military bases and keep to themselves, or foreign English teachers like me who have a job where they can speak English, and then all of their socializing ends up being with other foreign English teachers or other Westerners. So most Westerners by far don't learn much Korean at all, and they are still able to have quite a comfortable, interesting life in Korea. For me, that wasn't attractive to me. I wanted to experience, living in Korea. So studying Korean was really important for me while I was there, and I spent a lot of time on it. Really enjoyed it. And,
Excellent.
Yeah, it gave me I never became fluent or especially confident in speaking, but I was able to get around really easily, so I could take buses and go in restaurants and do all sorts of things, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I can imagine that. It's quite fun. So what happened after that? Did you decide why you didn't decide to stay there and then head back to home?
Yeah, well, so I stayed there for a long time, and I considered staying there much longer because my Korean was getting to a level that other doors would be opening up apart from just English teaching, which I was it was interesting and fun, but I didn't want to spend too many more years doing that.
Okay.
So I eventually decided I didn't want to stay there longer, and started thinking about other careers, and interested in technology and still interested in maths, and started looking into coming back to New Zealand to study computer science, and ended up deciding to study data science. The University of Auckland had just opened up a bachelor's program in data science, and so I decided to come back and be in the first cohort study. So that was great. Really exciting. Data science, is so exciting these days. And,
I know. It's just the era for it.
Yeah.
Anybody's just looking for a data analyst.
That's right. Well, everybody has data now, and you need someone who knows what to do with it.
And you have the brain for it, and also interest as well.
I'm interested in exactly those sorts of things: maths, statistics.
I know, you're a good combination. A company would love to have maths and philosophy and statistics. All of it at the same time. They're quite a good pack. Because you know what, it's because I teach data, data analysis as well, and I get all different sorts of people, coming to my class from different backgrounds, and sometimes I doubt it if these people are actually interested in analyzing data, and they have. I don't want to kind of discriminate people or just judge their level of understanding, but is not an easy job, because you actually need to have a lot of skills and knowledge and have the character. So you need to look at things deeply, and it requires a lot of thinking. I just simply see that because it's a fashion and there's so many jobs out there for these people, then anybody tries to just get in there somehow. But I'm wondering whether they're the good fit, or because it's kind of a brainiac kind of thing, and it's not. It doesn't fit into anybody's kind of way of living life, because sometimes you might find yourself sitting behind your laptop, looking at it, thinking about stuff for a whole day. And so I think that's a question that you should ask yourself: would you like such a lifestyle? And also, I mean, looking at it beyond kind of profession and work, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard it compared to the early days of software engineering, where everybody wanted to be a software engineer, and
exactly,
and everybody needed a software engineer,
and they saturated the market. We got to the point of, hi, we don't want these people anymore. Maybe there are not that many jobs for them. And apparently now it's data analytic kind of fashion that people like to get into. But hey, you have the skills. You deliberately studied it because you liked it and you enjoy it, because that's your character. And then did you start looking for jobs after doing the degrees, or you were just interested in doing more research?
So I did this bachelor's in data science, and then I went on and did an honours degree in statistics. And part of the honours degree was a research component with a supervisor from the department. And I had a really great supervisor I really connected with. And I really enjoyed the research that I did that year with her. Her name's Professor Rachel Fuster, Department of Statistics. And so I just enjoyed that so much, and then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do immediately afterwards, and she offered me some casual work continuing on with the research that I was doing. So that was excellent. I was enjoying it so much, and I wasn't sure exactly what else I wanted to do. So to be honest, I was slightly torn. So what I had thought that I wanted to do was to go into artificial intelligence and machine learning, which are closely related to data science and more on the computer science side of things. But my study had sort of gravitated more towards statistics, and my research especially was statistical modeling, which is not directly related to machine learning. It's kind of a different way of doing things. And I'd enjoyed it so much and become quite invested in it. So I was quite torn between sort of cutting off this statistics stuff and going into machine learning, or carrying on with this work I was really enjoying. So I what ended up happening was I carried on with the research work for about 6 months, and then and even started planning to do a PhD with the same supervisor, but finally actually at a statistical ecology conference, actually an online conference, because at this time it was COVID, so I was locked down actually in Auckland, and attending this statistical ecology conference and presenting some of the work I was doing. And in the Slack channel, which was where the whole conference was hosted, someone actually posted an advertisement for a PhD scholarship in Sydney, doing data science for various applications related, including related to environmental and ecological applications. So, and this scholarship looked really exciting and quite a sort of appropriate for me, so I applied for this. Actually, I didn't apply. I just sort of sent an email with a couple of documents, my resume, and said, "Hey, I'm interested," and they said, "We've accepted the application."
Hey, here you go.
We'll give you a
That's
call.
for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar to where I got my scholarship for doing PhD. I just said, "Hey, this is me," and they said, "All right, come over."
Right. Yeah, I don't mean to say it was that they sort of accepted me immediately, but they did. They considered
but
me.
obviously, you had a good background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else you wanted? You did all the stuff. You have all the skills and knowledge they needed, and you have the passion for it. So I think that's any supervisor would like to have, to see in a students, to be able to give them back another chance, for not chance, a position, PhD position, I would say, to study.
I think that program was just very well matched to my background at that time. So that was, and I felt sort of I felt like moving. I felt like a change. So although I was really enjoying my work, I guess I felt like a change. So this
that's
like
the time to go. And you're quite familiar with it, moving here and there, and exploring different places. And it's just quite a funny feeling. Then I don't know if it's funny, is it interesting, whatever it is, but it just it comes to you and say, "Hey, I think that's the time to move." I don't know what's happening, but it's just inside of you telling you that you need to move and go somewhere else. I don't know. I've experienced it so many times. Then I've sort of, it comes to me. I don't know from where, but I think I'm a crazy one who listens to it and do it. But maybe anybody kind of hear these whispers, but I don't know what proportion or percent of people actually do something about it.
I think that's exactly right. I think there's something deep about that. Immigration and migration has been a part of human history forever, and it's something that you can do if you. I mean, it's very hard to do, and we've talked about that. That you can't underestimate how difficult it is to move to a completely different place and lose all your connection. But it's also something that can really transform your life if that's what you're wanting to do. So
Exactly.
yeah.
It's very challenging, but you might end up getting a lot of things out of it. Well, I look at it from kind of wisdom point of view that, makes you kind of, I would say, a better person, a wiser person, but that's why, that's the way I look at it. And I've heard it a lot from my friends who did the same thing, that actually, changed the way they look at life completely.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
And you're going to learn so much from
So much.
coming to a new place. So
Yeah, exactly. Right. And then you moved to Sydney.
yeah, that's right. So that was last year, and I started off in this PhD program, which was
University of Sydney.
That's right, University of Sydney. It was a sort of a special program, so it was an ARC funded center that was set up specifically to train more people in data science and in advanced data science. So they had a lot of excellent postdoctoral researchers who were hired directly by the center to do research and help guide a cohort of PhD students.
Yeah.
As well as a lot of industry partners and professors and senior academics who were associated with the center to provide supervision. So it and is a really exciting research center, and we
So
started.
do they work a lot there? Do they work a lot with industry? They get a lot of data from industry, and they, get the students to work on it, and
industry and also government organizations and even NGOs. So it's about applications. It's about combining applications and new methods in data science, and particularly with partners outside of academia to make these applications relevant and useful. So they have all sorts of partners, some in mining and mineral extraction, some in ecology, some in water resource management, others in business consulting. They also work or have worked with NGOs like the Ramsey Foundation, interested in social data science, social research. So it's a really, really exciting center of research. Yeah.
I know, and I think Sydney Uni is quite proud of it and get heaps of money for doing data analysis and working with all these collaborators. And Sydney Uni is pretty good at at getting kind of building up connections and getting people to do the work and develop ideas and network. I find Sydney Uni to be quite progressive, and they like it a lot.
Yeah, well, Sydney Uni's a pretty impressive organization. They just announced they're building another $500 million health research center. Just because their fundraising has just been going so well.
Yeah, I know.
I'd say within Sydney, they're quite clearly the most successful university, making a lot of money and raising a lot of money and great research.
Right. So if you would, I'd like to talk about your work. Feel free to. Otherwise, we can just talk about pain points of being professional or successful person.
Well, I guess being successful is a nice thing, and there are downsides. I mean, success in itself probably doesn't have too many downsides, but success generally comes because of hard work, and too much hard work can have downsides. So that's something that comes to mind to me.
Don't work too hard.
Yeah. Keep your work-life balance, and also and especially for this kind of work, mathematical, computational, data work can be
quite intense
and somewhat isolating.
Yeah.
That, as you said, can be sitting in front of a laptop by yourself all day. And that's,
it can get you if you
I think we've both seen that people working in this field are at quite a high risk of mental health issues. It's not healthy to spend all your time in front of a computer.
No, believe it or not, when I was doing my postdoc at USET, and I really liked the research I was doing, and was just there every day, staying at uni for a long period of time, doing the analysis and playing with data, thinking, reading, manipulating the code and things like that. It's just typical data analyst or mathematician or statistician does that. To be honest, toward the end, I was thinking that I'm going psycho. So it's just really felt that mentally it got me, and it really came to my mind that I'm not sure if this is sustainable. I'm not sure that I can keep pushing it over a long period of time, because I could feel it, that it's just messing up my mental health.
Yeah, I think we're really at high risk of that, and I don't think people have fully come to terms with that and really figured out what to do about it. But having that balance in your life, and particularly having good social connections, I think is something that you lose from spending a lot of time working by yourself, which is often required. But I don't know what the solution is. I think outside of your work, really putting effort into having good relationships with people.
It's a key, really.
And
because I don't think we've designed for such a lifestyle. We like the work, but that's not the whole world. And when you're doing it over a long period of time and intensity, I think it start getting you, and you feel it, and you're not right. You actually feel it, but hopefully people start listening to it and don't kind of caught up with it. This success kind of things that anybody's talking about, fighting so hard to get publication, fighting so hard to get this position and stick around. It's just something that I see every day. So many people are experiencing it.
Yeah, particularly in academia and research, where there is this competitive environment, and it's quite individualistic. So I sort of think that we need to find ways to work together more, and not just work by ourselves. I think
I highly value that. But I went through that extreme loneliness to get to that point. That why system is designed such a way that you have to work on these intense kind of project alone. I'm sure that it gives you higher level of confidence that, hey, this is my achievement, this is what I've done, but you have to pay a price for it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem efficient to me. I think people work better together.
I
hope they will. Find ways to do that.
And finding the right people, I haven't found it easy anyway, but I would say is another challenge, because you can't work with anyone, right? You want some nice people to be kind of have a connection with, and you can kind of without that much of headache, you can do the work and enjoy that collaboration as well.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Yeah. not easy, not always easy.
No, it's very, very challenging. Alrighty, getting close to the end of it because I know you have so many things to do. Advice to your 15 years old self,
Oh
or
yeah.
any younger one who will like to listen to this podcast.
I'd say, again, keep up a healthy balance of study and relaxing with your friends and family. Just find things that are interesting to you in your study and enjoy them. You know, get into things that are, you know, that have some constructive aspect to them. So you know, maybe games are really attractive to you, but you don't see you know, too much constructive coming out of them. Find things that you see some future or something good for you in them that are also attractive to you. And
because I've seen so many people kind of, I wouldn't say wasting, but they like playing games, computer games, but well, at the end of the day, over let's say a few years time, like I think you should start asking this question, what I've got out of it.
Yeah, I think that's part of becoming an adult, and different people sort of recognize that at different times, and generally the earlier the better.
Yeah, but normally for some people it takes a long time.
Sometime with games with friends is good for you, but if it's all day, you might find other things more rewarding and more satisfying if you encourage yourself to do that.
Yeah, no, I fully get that. Any checking rituals, something you do often and makes you feel good?
I really like to just go out for a walk. So especially if I'm doing a lot of work, coding or a lot of maths.
Take get out of
it. Every couple of hours. So at least once in the morning and once in the afternoon. Stop and go for a walk really helps me a lot. And just preparing early for things makes my life go a lot more smoothly. So just thinking about what I have coming up and preparing in advance so that things go smoothly and things stay relaxed rather than getting hectic.
Excellent. Last words, if you would like to share anything.
I don't know, just if you're watching this kind of video, you're interested in maths and technical and data things, that's great. You're in a good place in your life because these things are more and more important. I would say just enjoy them and keep it in a healthy balance, and not much can go wrong for you. Sure.
And if you don't like it, well, that's your problem.
If you got to the end of this video and you don't like it, you're doing pretty well.
All right. Thanks for joining us. We enjoyed the chat, and hopefully we can have you again in future podcasts, future episodes, talk about more exciting things with the statistic and data analytic, and maybe at some points you start talking about AI, which is quite a hot topic these days. But I know how much you like it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot. That was great.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. Please don't forget to subscribe to our platform and support us to continue this work. If you have any feedback about this episode, I would love to hear it, so please leave a note for me. Also, if you have any suggestion to improving this work, I'm more than happy to hear that as well. Thank you for listening again, and see you in the next episode.